Hello everyone and welcome to our Divi Feature Update Live, a show that comes to you every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern. Today I'm really excited because one of my favorite features is now on the Visual Builder, and this is Divi Leads. Okay, so today we'll be covering how to set up a simple split test. I'll also be showing you how to view all your stats, the goals, and best practices when you use Divi Leads. So this is going to be a very exciting live show, and I'm really looking forward to it. And this time it's going to be a bit different because I'm going to need your participation. Okay, so just stay tuned. Now, before we dive into the show, I'd just like to acknowledge, everyone that has just joined us. I'd like to say to Mark Spence from Perth, thank you very much for tuning in. We also have Troy says hello Divi. Felix Torres says hi. Okay, quite a lot of you tuning in. We have Hassan Hafiz from Bangladesh. Again, thank you very much for tuning in. And by the way, we are broadcasting on Facebook and also on YouTube. Okay, so I'm just going to switch over here to Facebook and let's see how many have tuned into our Facebook. And I can already see we have 26 people on Facebook. This is really awesome. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, first of all, I just want to mention a few things which are very important before we get started. So if you want this brand new feature, you need to make sure you update to the latest version of Divi, which is 3.0.95. Okay, so this is how you get your update. And also, if you have any questions, please do put your questions in the comments box, and I will do my best to respond to those questions. If I can't respond to them straight away, I will have to forward these questions to our development team and our support team, and we'll be able to help you with that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to go into our site, which I've created now. Oh, and in fact, before I do that, I'd also like to mention that there's a full article about this latest feature, which I will link to in the show notes below. So if you take a look at the show notes, you will see that feature. Okay, so on Facebook here, I can see we have quite a few comments. We have Danielle from Chicago. We have Thomas from Austria. Awesome. Thank you very much for tuning in. Really excited. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at our demo site, and I'm going to go through what we need to do to set up our split test. So just as a show of hands, how many of you use Divi Leads for split testing? So if you use Divi Leads for split testing, please give me a 1. If not, just add a 0. I'm just curious to see, if any one of you uses this feature. Okay. So, right. This is very interesting because already I can see that pretty much everyone on YouTube does not use Divi Leads. Oh, okay, we've got one here. We've got Mukesh uses Divi Leads, but pretty much everyone here does not use Divi Leads. This is very interesting. Okay, I'm just checking here on Facebook. I can see again it's similar. It's a similar thing. We only have Thomas that uses Divi Leads. Okay, right. So let's dive into our tutorial today. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to take a look at this site, this page, which is from our free layouts that we give away every Monday. So if you'd like to download these layouts, they're absolutely free. Go ahead on our website and download them. Okay, so what I've done here is I've loaded this, and I've also updated my Divi version to version 3.0.95. Okay, so what we're going to do here in order for a split test to work is we are going to need a subject. Okay, now the subject is the thing that we're going to test against. Okay, so just bear that in mind. We're going to need a subject. So as an example, let's say a subject could be headlines. So let's say you want to test one headline against another headline to see which one performs better. So that's your subject. Okay, the action is what we're going to use to determine which of these subjects is performing better than the other. Now, this could be a call to action button. It could be, it could be all sorts of things. And also, the good thing about Divi Leads is you can test pretty much anything on Divi. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's dive in now and let me show you how we're going to do this. So over here, we have this headline called Best Web Design Agency in London. So I've just created that for this example. So what we're going to do is we're going to test two headlines to see which one performs better, of course, with your help. Okay, so I'm going to enable my Visual Builder. So I'm going to click on Enable Visual Builder. Right, so now that I have my Visual Builder loaded, what I'm going to do to set up my split test is very, very easy. You come over here to your item that you need, to your subject that you need to create the split testing of, and then you right click. So just to give you an example, let's say we need to test the section. So all you need to do is to right click on the section, and you can see here there is a split test. Okay, that is how you set up your split test. And again, if I come to my row over here, if I right click on the row, again, we also get this option of split test. So this split test can be found pretty much on our rows, sections, and modules. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to test these headlines. So what I'm going to do is to right click here and then click on split test, right? So there's a bit of information here to read, but since I know what I'm doing, I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. Right, so I'm going to click OK. Now, we get this pointer. Now, this pointer is different, as you can see. So this pointer now is waiting for us to choose our action, okay? So my action here is going to be this button. So what I'm going to do is to test these two headings, and we're going to use the button as an action to determine how many people have clicked on it based on which headline is being presented to the people. Right, so I'm going to use this pointer to click on my button. So I'm just going to click on it like that once, and then again we get this pop-up. Now this one is telling us that we can configure a subject variants. This is where it duplicates the current one that we have, which is Best London Web Design Agency. So I'm just going to click OK. Right now, you can see that this color has changed over here on the top. Right now, and also what has appeared is we have these two arrows to the right. So this is where we can cycle between our two versions, because the split test has now duplicated this headline or this title here, which is Best Web Design Agency in London. So for this to work now, we need to tweak the changes of this heading and give it something else for us to be able to test between it. So what I'm going to do now, because right now we can't really see, so I'm just going to come over here to expand settings, and then I'm going to go to my wireframe view so that you can actually see where these things are happening. So right here you can see this is the title and the subject head, which has been duplicated. So what we need to do is to go into one of them and change it, okay? So I'm just going to come over here into the settings, and then instead of having Best Web Design Agency in London, I'm just going to change this to, let's see, maybe we can say free consultation today. Okay, let's try that. Free consultation. Okay, free consultation today. So that's our second variant. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this. In fact, before I save, I'm just going to switch over to our desktop view. So what I'm going to do here as well is I'm going to come over here to design, and we're going to change the color of that heading. So let's change this to a different color. So I've got H1 here. Okay, so in fact we might need to increase the size a bit. Okay, and then I'm going to change my color. I'm just going to use, let's say, a yellow for this. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, so now if I cycle between these two, you'll see that we have free consultation, and then if I cycle back, we have best web agency in London. So we want to see which one performs better. Is it the free consultation, or is it the best web agency in London? Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and save this for now, like that. Now, this is where I'm going to need your participation in this to see if this is going to work. So I'm just going to exit the Visual Builder now. Right, so for now, I'm just going to check and see if we have any questions. So I'm just going to start with Facebook first. And okay, so we don't have questions at the moment. I'm just going to check now on Facebook. Okay, no questions so far. Okay, right, so it's pretty good. So this is where I'm going to need your participation. So I'm going to copy this URL right here on the top. And if you can do me a favor and click whatever version that shows to you when the page loads, that'll be great. And then go ahead and click the button which says Our Work. In fact, this button could be anything. It could be Contact Us today or whatever it is. So if you could click this link and click the button as well, because if all works well, you're supposed to be seeing different versions of this headline. Okay, so I'm gonna send this I'm gonna paste this link to Facebook and also YouTube. So here's the link on YouTube, and I'm also gonna do the same here on Facebook, like that. Okay, so please go ahead and on that link, whatever comes up, whether it's the yellow version or the white version, just click the button, and then we're going to go in and measure the stats and see which one performs better. Okay. Okay, so there's an error. That's strange. Monique says 404 error, no results found. That's strange. Let me just test this link again. Okay, the link seems to be working fine for me. Now, the button is not linking anywhere. If that's what you're referring to, the button is just going to show us if this works. In fact, let me make it link somewhere. Okay, so just bear with me. I'm just going to go back into my visual editor and change the link of the button. Okay, so I'm just going to go back in, enable Visual Builder. And then I'm going to go into the button and change it from Our Work to Contact. And then I'm going to change the link to this. Okay, save that. Save the page. Okay, do you want to go ahead and try it now? That link, I've just made it link to the home page. So that should be working fine. If not, please let me know in the comments. So all we're doing here is to go to that link that I've sent you, and whatever version that shows, hopefully you should be getting the yellow version or the normal white version. And then please just click the button which says Contact Us, and we're going to measure and see how the split test is going to be working. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to check and see if they have any. Okay, I can see here no results yet, no results yet. So, okay, I'm going to test this myself and see if this is working. So I'm back on my page here. I'm just going to click on contact and it's working. It's gone to this home page. Okay, so that link is working. As you can see, if I click here, it's working. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to check again and see if it's working for everyone. So I'm just going to check here. Okay, so it looks like the button is now working, which is fantastic. Okay, so I think we have enough data now for us to go in and check and see how this is performing. Right, so I'm going to go back into my website. Over here, and then I'm going to go back and enable the Visual Builder. It's important that to see the results, you need to enable the Visual Builder. So I'm just going to click Enable Visual Builder, and then you're going to see some slight differences here. So we can see now that when we have these little bars here, sort of like animated, right? So this is now showing us that we can actually go in and see what is happening. So I'm just going to go in and click here, where we have these animated bars like that. Okay, so now we can, this is where we're supposed to be getting our results. So we can see here that title and subhead, the first one got 13 clicks. And then, so the first one got 2 clicks and 2 impressions. The second one got 13 clicks, okay? So this is where all your stats would come. And then if there's any bounces, this is where you would see it. But as you can appreciate, there isn't much action that was happening here. That's why we don't have this. Ideally, this would work really well if this was running over a longer period of time where people are, clicking whatever version that appears when they load their page, because I think this works per IP address. So the version that you see will be totally different to the version that someone else would see. Okay, but here we can see, and again, thank you very much for your participation. But here we can see that we have 13 clicks on this one and 2 clicks on that. Okay, now that we have this, okay, we can choose to end the split test and choose the winner. So this is right here at the bottom here, slightly here at the bottom. So I'm just going to close this again. And then here on the button as well, if I click on these animated bars, it brings us the same information. So all you need to do to see all your stats is to just click that animated bar. That is what will show you all your split testing statistics. Okay, so I'm just going to check if there's any questions so far. But I mean, I'm sure, hopefully everyone is with me on this one before we actually choose the winning subhead. Okay, so I'm just going to go over here and see if we have any questions. Cyrus says, how do we use the conversion data in Google Analytics? Now, this feature that we have does not integrate with Google Analytics. This is our own Divi Leads, our own split testing software. So it does not work with Google Analytics. So let's take a look. Joachim, I think, says either appears randomly to the user. Yes, the user, when they go to the website, they get one of the versions. So this is randomly chosen, but it's done in such a way that if someone takes action when they see the first version, it tracks all that, but it's all random. Okay, so each user get a random version of whatever you're trying to track. Okay, so that link, unfortunately, is not working for some. Okay. Right, so I'm just going to go over here to Facebook and see if there's any questions here on Facebook. Okay, so no questions so far. Okay, fantastic. So now the moment of truth. What we're going to do is to check and see which one has performed better in the split test. Okay, so I'm just going to come back here over to my site, and then I'm going to click on End Split Test and pick winner. So it's right here at the bottom. So I'm just going to click on that. And then before ending the split, we must choose which split testing variation to keep. Please select your favorite or highest converting subject. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and click on proceed. Right, so I'm sure you can see this. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in, but we can see here version 1 and version 2. Version 2 has 800%, okay? And version 1 has 0%. So clearly, version 2 is the one that had more interaction. So in a real life situation, this is the one that we'll go ahead and choose, because sometimes it's very hard to determine what people react on. So it could be based on color, maybe the wording of the titles that you're using. So split testing will be ideal in those kind of situations. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on this winning one. So I'm just going to click on it like that. And just like that, that's the one that has been chosen. So I'm going to go back over here and go into my desktop view. And surprise, surprise, it's the yellow one, free consultation today. So this is what most of you chose when you were presented with the versions. So this is how you use a Divi Leads. So tell me what you think. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And if not, or if you're still confused, you can just add a 1 in the comments box. Okay, so if you like it, please add a thumbs up. If not, just add a 1, and then we can discuss and see where we can explain a few things, maybe if you're not clear on a few things. Okay, so in the next example, I'm just going to give you some ideas of where you can use this split testing on your own website. Okay, so it looks like we have quite a lot of questions here. Route 22 says bit after final or causes problem, works okay if it is stripped off. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Monique says, so you're saying that the user gets random version of the page on which you're using Divi Leads. Yes, that's correct. So the page that you're using Divi Leads, users are presented with different versions of the subject, okay? And then the software works out which one is performing better than the other, okay? Cyrus says, can we use it with different pages, or the element should be on the page that you're using Divi Leads? Yes, Divi Leads can be used on any page on your website, so you can go ahead and use this on any page. But the thing though is, you cannot use this split testing feature on 2 items on a specific page. So let's say you're already testing a subject on a particular page. You cannot use Divi Leads to test more than 2 or 3 things on the same page. So the split test will work for whatever you're tracking, but you can't add another split test. So let's say, for example, you're split testing 2 headlines, and you also want to test to see which button performs better than the other, depending on the colors on the same page. That wouldn't work, but you can use this on different pages. Okay. Claudia says, very interesting for testing different publications. Yes, sure. Arnie says, great feature. Thank you. Great idea from Mark Spence. Yes, that's correct. You can use it anywhere on the page as often as required or needed. That's right, Mark. You can use it anywhere on the page. Cyrus says the outcome, in this case the button, should be on the same page. Can we find out if they visited another page, for example? Right. There is a tutorial that we made which goes into depth about a goal setting, whereby you can use this button. So let's say you want to test and see how many people took action when they click that button. So what you can do is, let's say it's a contact form. So people would go on the page, then they click on the contact form button, and then that contact form button would take them to a, let's say a contact us page, which has a form. Now you can actually work out how many people actually filled in that form by adding a tracking code. What I'll do is I will add a link to that tutorial, so you can go ahead and take a look at that tutorial in depth. But yes, that can be done. You can actually work out how many people actually took the action, because sometimes someone could click the button, which is the action, go to the contact page and not do anything, okay? But if you want to know what if they've taken action, yes, you can add a tracking code which then lets you know what action these people have taken. Okay. Chittacon Web says, how long we keep Divi Leads running for the best solution? I mean, to be honest, you can run it for as long as you like, but depending on what you're tracking. But ideally, you want to give it enough time for the stats to accumulate and then and see. So I would say leave it for about a week, or even slightly more than a week, depending on how much traffic you're getting. So let's say your website gets 1,000 visits a day. Yes, you can run your split test in maybe say 3-4 days, because there's a lot of traffic coming in. But if your website has less traffic, of course, you know, you're going to need to run it even longer, maybe even a month. Okay, so it just depends on how busy your website is. But the longer you leave it running, and the more stats you collect, the better it is for you to determine which one is working. Okay, I hope I've answered that, Chittacon Web. Okay. Take a look if we have any more questions. So I'm just going to flip over to Facebook and see if we have any more questions here. And we have a question here. How do you use it? How do we use it for keeping your branding consistent? Do you have to put every different colors, etc.? Right. To keep your branding consistent, of course, you can use the colors from your color palette. This was just a quick example I used, but ideally you want to use colors in your color palette and use those and test it between your subjects. Now, let me just show you something quickly that we can actually do here, because we can not only just test headlines, we can also test sections, colors, and so on. So I'm just going to go quickly here and show you how we can use that feature. So now that our split test is done, I'm just going to scroll down here and find this section. Okay, so we have this section here that we can actually use in our split test. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this section and then click on split test. Okay, click OK. Right, so our goal, you can see with my pointer here, which has changed, is this button. Now, the button can also be over here on the top. It doesn't really matter. It can be call to action here on the submit button here. It doesn't really matter. So as long as we have the action. So in this case, I'm just going to add my action here like that. Okay. I'm going to click OK. So now we have two versions of this. As you can see, the colors now have changed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and change the background color of the section. So I'm going to come over here, click on section settings, go to my background, and then I'm going to add a background color. Okay, so now I have this bright red. I'm going to go ahead now and save this. And if I cycle between these two, it's going to show me the two versions here. So I'm going to click this one here. This is what we had initially. And then if I click back, it goes back to the one I've just created. So now we need to test and see how people react to this color. And now in this example here, it could be a color that's already in your color palette, because sometimes colors also play a role in how people react and take action. So this is a subject of another topic. But now that I have all this set, again, let's try this one more time. I'm going to save. Okay, so I've saved the page. I'm going to exit the Visual Builder. Okay, so again, if you don't mind, let's go to that link. I'm just going to post it again one more time. And if you can go to that link one more time again and click on the action, and let's see how this performs. And you should all be getting like a random colors. Okay, so I've pasted the link again in on Facebook and also on YouTube. So if you could just go ahead and click on that link and click on the button to take the action, and then we're going to go again and take a look at the stats. So as I mentioned, this the Divi Leads feature can be used on sections, modules, and also rows. So you can pretty much track anything. I mean, your creativity, is going to, you just have to be very creative about this and to test anything that you need to test. Okay, I'm just going to check if there's Sunil says, hello from Mumbai, India. Hello, and thank you very much for tuning in. So if you're just joining us, this is our Divi Feature Update Live, where we go through in detail the features that we release and show you how you can use these on your own websites. So this week we are talking about our introduction of the split testing and powerful insights for the Visual Builder. Now, this has been recently introduced to the Visual Builder because this was a feature that was only in our normal Divi backend builder. So we are just going through and showing you how you can use this split testing and powerful insights in your Visual Builder. In fact, I've already done an example where we tested a headline, and right now we're in the process of testing two section backgrounds to see which one performs better. Okay, so Web Creativo says hi from Madrid. Hi, and thank you very much for tuning in. Gaming with Ankit says, when you show your camera view, audio is fine, but when you show computer screen, your audio volume decreases. Okay, I'm not sure why that's the case, but it's something that I may need to look into. So thank you very much for letting me know. Appreciate that. Right. We have a greetings from Latvia, but unfortunately I can't pronounce the name. Arturus, I think. Arturus, maybe. Okay. Says love upcoming update. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think Quite a few of you have now clicked on that link. Now let's go in and let's test and see how this is working. Right, so I'm just going to go into my section here. In fact, first I need to enable the Visual Builder like that. Okay, and then I'm going to scroll down. And you can see here we have these bars, these animated bars. I'm just going to click on that. Okay, so right here I've got one click. Okay, so that's fine. We have one click. So I'm just going to end the split test and just click on end split test and pick winner. Proceed. Okay, so we can see these are the two items that we're testing. The first one here has a call to action. The first one here has a 50%, and the second one here is 0%. So all you need to do is to click on that one, and then that's your winning one. Okay, I'm just going to go back now to my normal view. And so it's the red one that has won. So that is how you use the Divi, the split testing feature, which is now on the front end editor. Okay, so I'm just going to go and take a look at a few more questions here, and we're going to round up our live stream today. So let's take a look here if we have any more questions. Mark Spain says the link fails also. Right. Now, this link I'm using here is on my demo site on Flywheels. It could be the fact that this is meant to be used for just demo purposes only. So I'm not sure why this is not working correctly. But this is nothing. This has nothing to do with the actual Divi as split testing. It's the actual domain. So if you take a look here, the domain is it says dividemo.flywheels.com. So this is the only way I could sort of like use this URL, but this could be causing problems. Okay, let's take a look and see if there's any more questions. Oh, Hector says the link is bad because it needs something at the end. So that could be, oh, the address is not complete. Okay, so that is why it's not working. Just remove the, okay. I see what the problem is now. I was actually curious as to why this wasn't working. So thank you very much for that. So it's the URL problem that is not making this work. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. Okay, Mark Spence, thanks for that, appreciate it. And Gaming with Ankit, thank you for that tip. I will definitely look into that. Okay, over here on Facebook, the link is not active. We need to type it in the browser again. Greetings from Switzerland. Yes, I've just been notified that we need to make a few tweaks to that URL, and that's why it's not showing. Okay, so again, thank you very much for tuning in to this live show. I really appreciate it. And tune in again next Monday, where we go through another of our latest features that we're going to release. So thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you again on Monday. Cheers. Take care.